Welcome to Book Buddies, episode 69. Today we are reading to Space and Beyond, covering books that are science fiction. We have 4 people, including myself, going through and talking about what books we have read. If everyone wants to go around and say their name and then the book that they read.
I'm Aaron, and I read The Sea of Tranquility.
I'm Matt, and I read The Martian.
I'm Ellie, and I read the three body problem.
I am Hadley, and I also read the 3 body problem. All right, let's jump right into it. Did you find it hard to focus when reading your book? Has TikTok fully ingrained our brains, and is it hard to focus when finishing this book this semester?
I definitely struggled at first with mine. Not because of my attention span or anything. It's just I feel like with a lot of sci-fi books, they start off really slow, but if they have a good concept like I think mine did, then it starts to really keep you turning the pages as you go further into the book.
Nice. At what point did you reach that in your book?
I was about the halfway mark because my book is kind of there's 4 or 5 different parts, and each one is on a different character in a different point in time. And so the last person that you meet in the book kind of starts to tie all the other parts together. So that's when it gets really cool.
Yeah, for me, I thought that getting into it, kind of like Aaron, was tough in the first couple chapters, just trying to get into the book. But once it was a pretty interesting book. So for me, once I got it a couple chapters in, it was a lot easier to sit down and read a lot at a time. So
my experience to read the book is kind of different because I read with my second language, and when I read it is I have a physical book I borrow from the library, and I also I have a digital one on my laptop because it's easier to search for some words I don't know, and also I have Chinese version digital one on the tape, and also when I have done 2 or 3 chapters, I like to watch 1 or 2 exposed Chinese TV series. So it's a very long experience.
Nice. Oh shoot, wait, a book question. Would anyone recommend their book to a friend, or is it one of those things where it's because it's science fiction, it's hard to get someone to read it? Sometimes, I don't know, anyone have that yes, I would recommend to someone?
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was going to say, I would definitely recommend The Martian to anybody. The movie obviously is very popular and did very well. I think the book is way better than the movie, which is usually the case. But in this scenario, the movie was really good, and the book was 10 times better in my opinion. So yeah, sci-fi can be tough to get into, but I would still very much recommend it.
I definitely agree. I read The Martian a few years ago, and it's definitely not too science fiction-y to off-put people that aren't super into it. I think it has a wide appeal. So
I don't need to recommend because all my friends have read that book.
They read it, really?
Yeah, it's very famous because it's up in China. When I was in high school, that everyone read it, but I just have no chance to read it. So this time I think is a good chance to start to read it.
I read it recently, and I would not have been able to understand a single thing if I read that in high school. What? That's impressive. I'm impressed. That's crazy. Do you think sorry, Ellie, do you think that the Netflix is turning the book 3 Body Problem into a upcoming series on Netflix? Do you think it's going to give the book justice, or do you think it's going to be hard?
I think it's turn the sci-fi book to the real to a series or movie. That's a really hard process because you don't know how to show the audiences. How to show the audiences is a very amazing things. And
Mm-hmm.
but Netflix, I think they could do it because I think American is very good at producing the sci-fi some movies. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna be good. I think when it's public, we can just compare it with the Chinese TV series.
Yeah. Would anyone continue? So like, has this sparked a desire to like read other books? Personally, when I start reading, I like eat books like really, really fast. I think I've read 3 books now in the last like 4 weeks because once I'm in something, I'm in it. Like I hyper fixate. So is like anyone on like kind of like a book crunch right now, or no? Was it just like one and done?
For me, I got my book from the library like in East Lansing, and so I do enjoy reading books a lot. It's just kind of a matter of like getting a hold of them. So like the library works out well because you can, get a book and then when you finish it, you just take it back and then just pick one up while you're there. So I definitely have a desire to read more after this.
Yeah, I definitely think I'm like that where I get like I fixate once I start reading, I keep reading books. I just finished The Martian, so I probably will start another book soon, but I hadn't read like I in high school I used to read a lot, but I hadn't like last 2 years or so I just stopped, but I'm hopefully will continue to keep reading. So
Yeah, me too. I just plan to read other books, other to a three-body problem. Yeah, in summer vacation, I think it's a good time to read more books.
Yeah. Um, do you guys like, remember like why we stopped reading books? I got busy and it's easier to kind of pick up my phone and scroll through TikTok. What are some of the reasons why you guys haven't like read in a while? Because that's mine. I'm the social media addict.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I really enjoy the TikTok. Yeah, I just spend like in my the media diary. The TikTok is
Mm-hmm.
how the most time I spend
How
most
much
time on
time did you have on TikTok? I bet I can beat it.
salary. It is most 7 hours a day.
Yeah, I was going through the media diary and I was like doing the math and I was like, this many minutes means I was on my phone for 8 hours today.
Yeah, and also it's a problem that uh, in present day many novels is turned to the TV series or movies. Okay, so the audience think we can just enjoy the TV series and movies. It's a faster and easier way to know the novel to learn about the story, so we don't have to read it.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
yeah, for me, I usually like when I read before bed. That's when I try to do it, but I like get stuck on my phone or something, and then I get tired. And it's like, well, I don't want to read now. I'm just ready to go to sleep. So, if I probably should stop going on social media before bed instead, probably read. But that's usually why.
Nice.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the notion of trying to read before bed because that's kind of a good time to do it, and it's a lot better for you than technology probably.
Do you guys like agree that like kids aren't reading as much as they used to, or do you guys think with like social media they're still reading the same amount, just not books?
I mean, I know like an issue for me in school was we always had to read like required books that weren't necessarily like personally interesting to me. So I would agree with the notion that reading has kind of moved into like maybe social media or other stuff that isn't traditional books.
Yeah, I think like obviously there's with the internet now there's a lot more access to not only just like books online, but like you can go and read like fan fiction is still reading, even though it's not the same thing as reading a book. So like there's just different ways to read, quote unquote, without actually picking up a book. So
Yeah, I think just the physical book is not that people are now used to reading the physical book. They read online, probably because it's convenient and maybe free because we don't have to buy the physical books. and also there's many other forms to show the story. So it's more those channel are more interesting and could enjoy more. So they just don't like this read book.
That's true with like Netflix and everything. Like media has super increased with like television and movies. So like it makes sense. Like if people in the 70s could watch what we're watching, I'm quite sure they'd stop reading too. And if that's a good point.
Were your guys' books like, what did you think about the length of your books? Like, I don't know how long yours were, but I'm kind of curious about how you guys feel about like the length of the book that you read.
Long books usually scare me. They do. Harry Potter in fifth grade scared me. I was like, oh, why would I want to read a big book? Like, have you seen that fifth one? Now, after I've read it, like my mind has changed. I'm like, okay, wait a second. If you can get through the long book, it really pays off. It just, if it gets slow, I get really mad. So, yes, big books used to scare me, but not anymore.
Nice.
I think The Martian was like 370 or something like that, which isn't that big. Like I've read the Harry Potter series, which those books are huge, like you said. So, but it took me a lot longer than I thought to read. Like I think it was like there's a lot of information in the book, a lot of stuff to like actually process. So it took me longer than I thought, but I mean it was still very enjoyable. So it wasn't the end of the world because usually I don't like long books, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really like to read a very long story. That's many series, several books for one series. That's not good for me, and also because like busy study, so don't have time to do that.
Mhm. Yeah, I was just curious because some people like definitely prefer longer books because like they get attached to them, and then other people want like short books that they can read like in quick succession. So I was just kind of curious.
Yeah. With science fiction, I read a book a while ago where it was short, but it was deceiving because it's science fiction. It takes forever because they're like, oh, we have a glipnorp. And you're like, what's a glipnorp?
Yeah.
So yeah. But the challenging part of science fiction is often the most rewarding. That's how I would describe the three body problem. It's hard, but it's rewarding.
Yeah.
It's good. It gave me
Yeah.
a lot of existential dread.
Yeah, I get that because like I've read multiple sci-fi books and like some of them definitely like could send you on like an existential crisis for like the next week. So it is pretty crazy.
Ellie, we ended up reading the same book. Who is your favorite character? I have to look up mine because I forgot their name. But
My favorite.
yeah, there's a lot of gray characters.
Yeah, that's hard to choose. Hard to choose. Actually, I'm thinking. I think this book its story is like just a how-to-man story. The really main story is Wang Miao and Ye Wenjie, these two characters. And if I choose, maybe I choose Ye Wenjie.
Yeah.
Because I know if I was her, I experienced a lot of tragic in my life. I can do the same choice.
She was a badass. No,
Yeah,
she's
to
also
other alien races and invade the Earth, destroyed.
I'm like when the big twist was revealed, I was like, no, no. But then I was like, no, she's a boss queen for this. I respect her and she deserves this. So I was with her till the end, even though she was like a morally gray character. She was kick-ass. I really liked her.
Yeah.
I agree.
And do you guys have some favorite character in your books?
In mine, I don't remember his name, but basically there's like a time traveler character and he like grows a lot in the course of the book because of like what happens to him. And like I'm not gonna spoil it in case like people that are watching this want to read it, but it gets really cool to see how he grows because it's like over a normal story it'd be like maybe like a few months or something, but this book is like playing with the idea of time, so you get to see him grow really quickly.
For me, it's probably the main character. He obviously you spend most of the book with him, and you're just kind of like one-on-one time because he's by himself on Mars. But like my favorite parts of him are like when he's messaging like back home or anything like that. Like he's very sarcastic, and a lot of the humor they leave out of the movie, but there's a lot of like he's pretty funny in the book. So I like a lot of that.
One of the questions is, was there a part of the book you wish you had written? And do you have any favorite lines? There was a lot of like iconic lines. I don't remember any of them. I could probably look them up, but like I don't know, it's like such like a really big award-winning book. Like, of course there's really good lines in it and it's science fiction. But like the plot twist and my favorite character, I'm sorry, I'm trying to not butcher her name. Yang Dong. She was like a really cool character, and I wish I wrote her. So I wish I had that.
For me, there's like a lot of existentialism in my book, and just like a simple quote that kind of sums up the book pretty well, in my opinion, is "No star burns forever." I just think that you can like think about a lot just from those 4 words.
That does give me existential dread because like stars are like cool and they're really up there and they're far away, and we're like, yeah, they're like, like they're forever. No, they're not.
Exactly.
I think I don't know. I obviously the book was really well written, so there's a lot of stuff in it. And most of it is honestly a lot of dialogue and stuff like that 'cause it's written mostly in first person. Um, but I think I really don't know. I mean, the whole book was written really well, so I don't know if there was necessarily a part that I would have rewritten either. But so
For me, I think maybe I'm gonna rewrite one of the characters the ending because in the beginning of the novel it just suicide. Her name is Yang Dong, and her is just a suicide just because physics doesn't exist. I don't know how to explain, but I think she could keep her lives. She's a scientist. Maybe physics is her whole life, but I think it's her more other things could keep her to continue her lives. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was a bit dramatic, but maybe, I don't know, if you realize that like your physics was wrong, like everything like up is down and down is up, I would freak me out. I don't know if I'd jump off a building, but close. I found there's a really funny character. I was not expecting there to be funny characters like this, but there's like a cop and he's investigating what's happening. He's like a military dude. And one of his quotes is, "I'm a simple man without a lot of complicated twists and turns. Look down my throat and you can see out my ass."
Oh yeah, I know that.
He's like a
That's
really
fun.
blunt character, and he's like an asshole at first. When you get to like to know him more, you're like, I respect you. And I was liking the characters a lot more than I thought it would. But I feel like that quote really shows a different side of the book in science fiction as well that people don't really see. So check out the book, guys. 3-Body Problem.
Yeah, just don't think too much. Yeah, don't just be a scientist because you have to think too much things. Think about it, think about that. If you found something wrong, if you feel you can change your life, you can change something, you can be very big to maybe just choose to suicide. So just life simple. Simply.
Don't overthink life and don't end yours. I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I got existential dread from mine, but also an appreciation for like crazy science, kind of like physics, like a basic physics understanding. Anyone else get anything from their book besides existential dread?
I mean, mine was mostly about that, and also kind of just like, living your life to the most. So like, I think that's kind of like broad, but like, I like stories that make you kind of rethink your like what you're doing and how much you appreciate where you are. So I thought that was kind of cool to be able to reflect on that.
I mean, in mine, I kind of like the attitude of like the whole point is that just there's no problem that's too big to solve, obviously. And just I mean, obviously, most problems don't require you. In the book, he has to basically use his own crap to grow potatoes to eat for 3 years or whatever it is. But just there's ways to get around everything, and I just that's always important to take away. That no problem is too big.
I like from this book, I think besides they talk about the scientists, some very complex theory of science. I think the core of this story is to talk about the human nature. It's like in China, everyone knows the lines that is saying is that human was born with good nature, but I don't think so.
Well, you don't think there's good nature in everyone?
I think like human is with a evil nature. The nature is evil, but they just to study to concentrate to restrict this evil nature. We have to do that.
Hmm. Yeah, it does like, is evil made or is it born? That's kind of, I feel like, a little like theme within the book, definitely, which was cool to look at, especially because they were aliens. Yes, there were. Who would you guys recommend your book to? Like, if you could give like a 30-minute second pitch, how would you give it? Being like, this book has everything you could want in it. It has ass jokes. It has aliens in it. Like, how would you describe your book?
I'm trying to think of mine.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It's just imagine the first contact between human and the aliens. What's that gonna be? Maybe we're gonna be eliminated, and maybe those aliens, they have the very high moral level. Just help us to like the main character thought she even just thought that those advanced alien races could help human to change their evil nature. But I think that's too idealized. That's not practical.
That's fair.
Interesting. I guess I would like pitch mine as just like it's like a mystery about like what brings together these different time periods. So like there's one in like the 18th century and there's one in like modern times and then there's one in like the near future. And so like you're trying to figure out along with these multiple characters like why their stories are connected in this one book.
Nice.
I think for mine, I would just sell it as like it's obviously a really well written science fiction book, but it kind of has something for everybody, and it's not too over the top. I think it's a concept that everybody can kind of understand and get intrigued in and get interested in.
I would definitely recommend Three Body Problem to people who like the crazy science within Rick and Morty, but then you mix it with like physics from Star Trek and you kind of just mash those together, because there are like crass characters in the Three Body Problem. It's just a little bit challenging at first, and you have to know at least like basic physics. If you don't, it might be a little hard, but just like one step at a time. It's worth it though.
Have you guys like did you choose your book because you were already into sci-fi or did you like take a chance on it because it just sounded interesting?
I go through phases. I was reading a lot of like high fantasy, but I was kind of sick of like this girl needs to save her kingdom and her dad's dead and magic. And I was like, okay, I'm done. So I'm in this science fiction kick right now. And I looked up the best science fiction books to read, and
Mhm.
Three-Body Problem was like top of everybody's list. And I was like, okay, now I have to read it. And
Oh
I'm very
wow,
glad that
okay.
I did. So now I'm really stuck in science fiction right now.
Nice.
I choose the cerebral problem because everyone, like almost everyone around me have my Chinese friend just have read it, and I just have no chance to read it. So I think the book club is a good chance to know why this book is very famous.
Nice.
I've always been interested in sci-fi books, but I've never like read a ton of them. But so I just kind of gave it a shot simply just because it obviously I like the movie, so I just thought I'd figure I'd give the book a shot. So
Yeah, I kind of agree with like your perspective. Like I've always been into it, but I struggle sometimes to like fully commit to a book. So the book club helped me actually read a sci-fi book.
Yeah. And then I guess a good ending question would be, would you guys like, has this influenced you this whole entire project to want to start your own book club? I remember in second grade, we all had to read the same book. I think it was Stone Cold Fox, something. And it was just so fun to talk about and like chat with your friends. So like, would you be taking this kind of like with your own friends, maybe, if it was like more theoretical than like practical?
I mean, I might try to like read more on my own, but like I feel like it's difficult to do like to start your own book club unless you happen to have a friend group that's all already into reading. So, I definitely think it's impacted me personally, but not like to the point where I'm gonna try and do my own club.
yeah, I think none of my friends like are super into reading, so I think that would be tough for me to find like a group of people to do it. But I definitely like would like to continue to read at least on my own. So I think it's done that much for me at least.
For me, like I think I could like talk it with my friend because they have read it. But I don't think we're gonna do that because that's too complex for us. We are not scientists to like because we read the novel like we just to see some like social events, the social issues like to talk about the very deep, very deep what how to say that very deep saying like what's the human nature. But if you like if we talk about some scientist theory in that book, I don't know. My math and sense too bad.
Yeah. Finding the time also with like friends and coordinating is hard. So yeah,
Mhm.
definitely on a personal level, I'm gonna start reading and like I'm gonna shove books on my friends, but I often text them, be like, hey, did you read this part yet? And they're like, no, I haven't touched it. I'm like, okay, cool. Cool, cool. So yeah,